All right, let's just dive right into this explainer and completely demystify the IELTS reading and writing exams. Look, if you've ever stared blankly at one of those incredibly dense academic passages, feeling the clock just ticking away while the answers seem to be actively hiding from you, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're breaking down the absolute best strategies to navigate these texts with total confidence. Real quick, before we get into the weeds, I want to mention that this whole overview is proudly presented by Grace International Berta Mode. They're a fantastic educational consultancy dedicated to prepping students for the IELTS and PTE exams. And we owe a huge shout out to Pushkar Khatiboda, an expert English test instructor who actually put together the highly effective analytical framework we're going to explore today. So I know exactly what you're probably thinking the second you look at an IELTS reading paper. Why on earth does this have to be so incredibly frustrating? You know the feeling. Dense texts, weird topics, and a clock that's practically mocking you. But here's the thing. That frustration, it almost always comes from a lack of strategy, not a lack of actual English skills. Which brings us to the absolute ultimate secret weapon for conquering this test. It's a super simple principle, and it's called where before what. Basically, you have to find out where the answer lives in the text before you even try to figure out what the answer actually is. You've got to stop trying to swallow the whole text at once, right? Start hunting for the locations first. It's a total game changer. Okay, to get you on a clear, straightforward path to that band 9, we're going to break this down into 5 quick steps. Cracking the IELTS reading, navigating question types, true, false, or not given, a fun practice scenario on the science of kissing, and finally, nailing the academic writing tone. Let's kick things off with step 1, cracking the IELTS reading. Did you know there are exactly 12 main types of reading questions you can get hit with? 12! And honestly, treating them all exactly the same is the single biggest mistake you can make. Trying to use a one-size-fits-all approach is exactly why people run out of time. You absolutely need a distinct, step-by-step game plan for each specific type. Which leads us perfectly into step 2, navigating those question types. Let's say you're trying to conquer sentence or summary completion. You've got to follow this 4-step procedure to the letter. Step 1, read the instructions carefully, especially those tricky word limits. Step 2, predict the answers. You're basically priming your brain for the kind of word that's going to pop up. Step 3, scan for the location. There's that where before what rule again. And finally, step 4, only after you find the location do you read that specific chunk carefully to pull out your answer. Moving on to step 3, true, false, or not given. Pretty much everyone's least favorite part of the test. The absolutely crucial thing here is understanding the difference between these 2 question types because they look so incredibly similar. True, false, not given, that tests hard, objective facts, like this pen is blue, that's a fact. But yes, no, not given, that strictly tests the subjective opinion of the writer. I think blue pens are the best. That is an opinion. If you mix these 2 up, you are leaving points on the table. And here is a massive trap students fall into all the time. Getting stuck searching for not given info that literally does not exist. It's like wandering around a room looking for a piece of furniture that was never there. This usually happens because people obsess over one single keyword, instead of understanding the whole sentence. Take a breath, read the entire statement, and get the complete meaning before you go off scanning the text. Oh, and for matching headings, this tests your grasp of a paragraph's overall vibe. The best strategy here is actually totally counterintuitive. You should completely ignore the provided headings at first. Seriously, don't even look at them. Read the paragraph, write your very own quick heading for it in your head, and then look at their options. You'd be amazed how often your custom heading is a dead ringer for the right answer. Okay, let's put this all into practice with step 4, the science of kissing. This example brings up a wild fact from our source text. A massive study of 168 global cultures found that only 46% actually engage in romantic, lip-on-lip kissing. I mean, that totally shatters the assumption that kissing is this universal human thing. In fact, a lot of hunter-gatherer societies find the whole idea completely gross. So as we scan through this practice passage, we hit this specific quote. It mentions that the oldest evidence of this kind of behavior comes from Hindu Vedic Sanskrit texts from over 3,500 years ago. Now, this is a golden opportunity to practice scanning for synonyms instead of exact keywords. Look at how the highly specific phrase in the text, Hindu Vedic Sanskrit texts, morphs into the much broader term historical records in the actual test question. This is exactly why scanning just for keywords is a terrible idea. You have to be hunting for equivalent meanings, not just matching letters on a page. Let's apply our strategy to a real question right now. True, false, or not given. Our ancestors were not likely to kiss. How do we evaluate that objective claim against the text? Well, remember our golden rule, right? Find the location first. So, we scan for hunter-gatherers since they represent our ancient ancestors. And boom, we find the exact text stating our ancestors may not have been kissing either. The core meaning of that whole sentence lines up perfectly with the question, so the answer is a rock-solid true. Finally, let's bring it all together with step 5, the academic writing tone. Because honestly, reading and writing are just two sides of the exact same coin. Whether you're doing IELTS writing, task 1, task 2, or writing in a TESOL setting, you've got to leave your personal feelings at the door. You have to master these 4 objective styles: descriptive writing to summarize facts, analytical to reorganize them, persuasive to argue with solid evidence, and critical to evaluate different viewpoints. Just look at the night and day difference between how we talk normally and the formal tone you need for a top band score. It's all about focusing on the action, not the person doing it. So instead of saying, "we did the experiment," you elevate it to, "the experiment was conducted." Swap out "I think" for "the evidence suggests." It makes a world of difference. And here is a really fascinating part of academic writing: hedging. Basically, it means presenting your arguments with precision and caution. You want to ditch emotional, extreme words like always or never. Instead, use softer terms like suggests, appears, or may. It instantly signals to the examiner that you've got a well-read, balanced, and objective perspective. So I want to leave you with this thought as you go back to your prep. If you can train your brain to calmly, unemotionally extract facts from dense reading passages while ignoring all the traps, just imagine how much more authoritative and powerful your own academic writing is going to become. Mastering the reading absolutely unlocks the writing. Good luck out there, and keep putting these strategies to work.